Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome to my beginning exploration with OnAir Airline Manager. So if you've been following any of the career add-on series on the channel, I started with FS Economy. I've dabbled a bit in NeoFly, and in each of those I've been talking about the fact that I also want to try OnAir Airline Manager, which is one that I've heard quite a bit about. It's had good feedback in places I've looked and so forth. The biggest difference with this one is it is a paid service, but they offer a 7-day trial, and so what I'd been talking about is, well, I want to kind of make sure that I have enough time to take a look at it. And so I feel I've got a little bit of space in the next week to do this. So I've gone ahead and pulled the trigger. You can see, my subscription will end. And so I've jumped in here and, created a company here. So we'll talk through this a little bit. So basically, the world exists with basically 3 different areas you can play, or 3 different worlds you can play in. You can have a company in each one. I'm not worried about that at this point. If I go forward with it, I will likely, probably, certainly look at that to some degree. But as you can see, they're just different cloud covers. So we've got Cumulus, Stratus, and Thunder. And you can see basically there's 3 different key points, whether AI pilots are available. So you can see in Thunder you don't have any. There's easy economy in Cumulus, and then challenging economy in Stratus and Thunder, and everything I've read indicates that this economy is actually the same between these 2 servers. It's just really mainly the difference of the AI pilots and no AI pilots. Finally, is there some sort of a leaderboard if you're looking for that type of thing. So you can see here they have some details. Cumulus is the recommended world for first-time CEOs, as it features both the most forgiving rule set and providing for a relaxed and casual play style should you have only a few hours to invest in your company and wish to have access to additional helper features. Stratus is the final step in difficult, where you can still utilize AI employees to fly planes even when you are away from the computer. Otherwise, all the aids are disabled. And finally, Thunder is the final level. No aids, no payout multiplier, and AI pilots may not fly without you at the controls. In this world, every flight your company performs must be completed by you in a connected simulator. No fees applied for not using a rented aircraft. So some of that I don't understand, like that last piece, no fees applied for not using a rented aircraft. So, maybe if it sits on the ground or something. But I don't think we're going to get to that within the first week. We're definitely probably barely going to scratch the surface of things. So you'll notice there's a dev update here just literally about a week ago. And looking at that allows airport ownership now in the system, which provides some bonuses and things to the player if you do that. And then they just added industries recently, which lets you, create factory and do trading goods via delivery contracts and so forth. So I think this is one of the biggest differences I've seen, probably because they have income coming in. They're more active in actually expanding this and doing new things and so forth. NeoFly is doing some things, and NeoFly does have some paid options as well. But because OnAir requires you to pay to participate beyond just that first trial period, perhaps that gives them more of an ability to go ahead and work on things. I have noticed I've started a charter company, I've started a route company. It appears to kind of do the same thing, and I think even if you do an industrial company, I'm guessing it would do the same thing as well, because you have access to all 3 of those when you're within the system. So this start button may really just kind of seem to indicate that you're picking different things, but it's just telling you, hey, you can start a company and do these type of things. I thought that picking one or the other would restrict you, but it does not appear to do that. So we're going to go ahead and we'll enter the world here. So for now, I keep using mature simmer air. It's easy enough. First thing I notice is just a much more professional or a flashier viewpoint. And as I said, you can see industries, you can see charter jobs or route jobs, and up here too, like we're on basically my company, but this is industries dashboard, and then this one is the regular routes dashboard, where this one I think doesn't say specifically what it, what type of routes it is and so forth. So you start with 170,000 in cash. We then have this company value. Then it looks like it shows us like 1 week, 2 weeks where we're at. Asset to debt ratio, jobs, so you can stack a bunch of jobs, I guess. Do you own any FBOs? What type of aircraft you have, and again, it's showing you in-flight total. Like you can have multiple aircraft. Obviously, you can have various people. How many employees? What level we're at? So I believe in this case, because we have a good amount of cash, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can actually get an aircraft to start out with. If I go to the aircraft market, which I can get to from here or here, it looks like. Okay, so I can search for the aircraft I have loaded in my simulator. Oh, I have to be in an airport. I see. Well, then let me browse the aircraft market manually. But I'm going to look for that Cessna 172 because I think that's going to be a little bit affordable. And I want to see if I can do that with what I have, because certainly it's more than I have available to me in NeoFly. All right, so you're able to pick the simulator, because this, unlike NeoFly that only works with Microsoft Flight Simulator, this will work with other things. So you can see the CJ4 citation, pretty expensive. But we've got the Skyhawk, 119,000. So that is interesting. All right, and so you've got a little bit more information here. So 56 gallons. Estimated cruise, not sure what that is, but the practical range is 787, and let's see, 3 seats, so that's always nice. And so I assume that means I can take 2 passengers. Maybe not, because the Cessna 152, yeah, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to take any passengers, but maybe on these smaller ones you can't. But again, the 152 is going to be a manual flyer for sure. And certainly this looks really popular. You can see there's been 64,000 flights with this plane. There's certainly a lot in the citation as well. Let me display, sell, rent, and lease offers. All right, so this is looking within 100 miles here. And then we can either rent or they'll sell. And yeah, everything here is kind of within my range. Just the conditions interesting. Or I could buy a brand new one for a pretty significant premium. But what I see here is we've got this one that is 105 hours, and the airframe is good for 5,000. Let's take a look at this one. So the condition's 100%. It's got 105 of 1,200 hours on the engine and also on the airframe. So this is, okay, the time between overhaul is 1,200 hours. So that's also helpful. And so I don't know if, for everything, are you doing the 32,000 at that point? But I would think you'd probably be good with that many hours of flying time. I mean, I'm nowhere near that in all of my flight simulator time right now, so that would have me in pretty good shape. The engine's already at 95%, so let's see. The maximum condition decreases with total flight hours of the engine. So I see it's probably at 95% because, well, but like 120 would be 10. And then the airframe, as it says, it's considered high time after 5,000. If airframe time exceeds the airframe high time, the airframe condition will decrease faster. And then the annual checkup price doesn't include major repairs. So weekly ownership cost, there you go, is $50. So I think, again, and that's probably real time. So if I basically don't fly for a month, it's going to cost me $200 here. You can see the annual checkup is almost a year away. So that's the other thing. It's pretty nice. You know, it's kind of above the estimated by expert value, I guess, but this is a pretty good deal. I think I'm going to go ahead and buy this. So let's see. Full economy, full business, no seats, custom. All right, and I think because I'm starting out, it's going to teleport the pilot to the location and generate a job to my airport, because this Kilo Michael Romeo Charlie is the airport I selected to be my base of operations, and it's in central Tennessee, just south of Nashville, just because. Not really any reason otherwise. So let's see if we do business. Okay, that gives us extra cargo capacity. If we do first class, it's kind of the same thing. Interesting. So basically, do I want to carry people and not carry anything other than that? Or do I want the option for cargo? Well, let's see. Can I do that? All right, I can do that too. I'm wondering if business class gets me better prices, though. See, I don't understand why here the occupied surface is 87%, where in first class, and maybe it's because the seats are bigger. It's not like it costs me anymore, and it's still 2 people. So maybe we just go with the first class and try the extra cargo capacity, and then we can see if we can mix and match jobs like I had in a NeoFly, but 63 pounds doesn't seem like a whole lot. But let's go ahead and buy this. All right, so at this point, we've got this. We've got first class. Doesn't have a lot of fuel, but that's okay. Do I need a work order? Or, because it said it was going to create a job for me. So let's see. All right, so there are pending jobs. So I guess a work order is something different. Okay. So we're down here in, what, Alabama? Oh no, Tupelo, Mississippi. So this is Alabama down here, I think. Although maybe it's Georgia. Athens? Yeah, I'm not sure. But at this point, we're going to get 1,760. I don't know what the 135... Oh, I see. 135 credit per 1,000 pounds per nautical mile is basically, I guess, what the passengers are worth. I'm not sure. So again, this may not be the configuration that I really want, although it's taking some cargo. It's interesting. It's literally just taking cargo. So I'm not even getting people. That's disappointing. All right, so I think I go here where I start the flight. And then this will prepare the aircraft. All right, so 11M is where I need to load into. Let me see if I can create this flight. There's no such airport as 11M in Navigraph. I'm going to have to basically just kind of look at the map and hope that I can find it. But hopefully it's in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So let me get over there. Okay, there is no 11, whoops, I didn't type it in right. 11M, so Fulton, so that appears proper. Let's see, I'm hoping I can do things in the middle of the afternoon. All right, but we've got the Skyhawk. Can I start? Okay, there are some areas here, so that's probably going to be better for something like this that's a bit more realistic, to not start on the runway. All right, so NeoFly would already be saying something at this point. So it doesn't seem it does that same type of thing here. Alright, so Fulton, Itawamba County. GSX isn't too happy, but that's not surprising. Okay, so I can't find this airport in SimBrief either. Alright, and we have 22 gallons. That's going to give me 314 nautical miles, so I should be okay. Alright, so I need to validate fuel and payload. Alright, I see. And now I can do that. So, alright, so if I do that, I think that'll set it to noon so that I can fly during the day. Alright, we don't support any add-ons that change the time during the flight tracking. Do you want this warning to be displayed next time you start flight tracking? Probably not. Alright, so it'll auto set the time and so forth, or the date. It's got the fuel, the payload, and everything. So it's a little nicer than NeoFly where I don't need to do anything specific. I'm going to follow the aircraft. Alright, so I think I start tracking. Alright, so fuel on board. It's going to take about 45 minutes. Alright, so let's jump back into the simulator. Alright, so I want the battery. I want on. And then I think we need the avionics to get going. So, you know, this has to get ready and so forth. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the landing monitor right now. We're going to get some pitot heat on. I think we need the fuel pump. Going to need the beacon, taxi, strobe, nav lights. Alright, I need to keep the wings level. Alright, so fuel selector is split between the two. That's all good. Get the mixture set out a little bit. Put the throttle in. I assume I'm not really going to be able to do anything with the flight plan. So let's get the engine started.
Your flight will be monitored until you land and shut down the engines.
Okay. Alright, so since we're going a good ways, I'm going to probably put myself up at, say, 11,000 feet. Okay, so it's interesting that actually the Garmin will use it. Alright, so we have to go to the route below, and then I want to go to K, and then it's KMRC. And it may try to guess a little bit here, but it's not entirely, so there we go. We're going to accept that, and then I don't know that we have a specific runway. Let's see. Oh, well, there is a little shorter one, but no, it's a grass runway. We're not going to do that. So I can go to 6. So let's see, so maybe if I go up to the other one. Alright, so we're going to take off 36 should probably make sense. So we're going to do that. And we're just going direct, so that'll be it. Alright, so we're going to do autopilot. You can see it's 92.7 nautical miles, bearing 42. So we're going to do nav. I don't know that it'll do VNav because I don't have any en route destination here. Alright, so I think I should be alright. I just need to check where we're at, so let me take a look here. Alright, so yeah, where I'm at with like Navigraph, there is nothing, there's literally nothing here, so it definitely doesn't exist as far as it knows. Alright, so I'm going to turn on the landing lights, and we're going to go ahead and start moving. Parking brake is off, but I'm not going fast enough yet. So let me slow that down. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Let me take a peek outside here. Just want to be careful how much I go. Come on. I'm not quite sure why the co-pilot yoke is doing what it's doing, but it's not up to me, I guess. Alright. So if I remember correctly, the runway's like right there. Alright, there it is. So I'm going to head out this way. And then we're going to have to go kind of all the way down. And, you know, see what's going on. So in theory, we can't land. I wonder if this airport is closed. That could be what's going on too, so. So I'm gonna slow this down. I don't know that I can tell how fast I'm going yet. So the other thing is that's interesting, although there is somewhat of a tracking in NeoFly as well, that gives you information, but I don't know that it's quite as elaborate as what you have in OnAir, but we'll see how everything plays out. But thus far, it's hard to tell, you know, how it compares to the others. You know, it's certainly not giving me as much kind of audio feedback as I was getting from NeoFly, where the dispatcher seemed to give you a little more friendly information. You know, the challenge I have is I'm just really worried that I don't know that I'm going to be able to tell in 7 days, and the cost of it is substantially more expensive per month, you know, for a single month than it is, say, you know, the best program you can buy is 2 years, and then you're then paying €3. So again, with the conversion, I'm not sure if that will be less or more. I guess I can, you know, obviously work that out. You know, but it'd be $72 for 2 years, or €72, which isn't terrible. And I think I've bought stuff that were euros before, and I think it was a little bit less. So, you know, maybe it would even be like 60 or some dollars. Alright, I'm not quite sure why suddenly we've stopped moving, but we have. Come on. Alright. Slow down. Alright. So we are going to hop back in the plane now, and then hopefully we'll be able to go. So we'll see how this all looks. Alright. Whoops. So we want to go fast enough for sure that we can effectively take off. Whoops. We've got a little bit of weird... What is going on? Oh boy.
Airborne time logged.
Well, luckily we didn't have collisions on. I don't know why it's... Oh, I think I see why, because I have the autopilot on. And I need to not do that. Alright, so I think the autopilot is off now. So that was the part of the problem. I didn't realize, like, I had it activated, so it was trying to turn on the runway. Now let's see, can I do VNav? No. Whoop. Got too much power in the engine. Alright. So we need to turn this way. Alright. So we're going to start flying. But I need to get high enough, so what I probably want to do is get the plane to some elevation here where I can... Yeah, I'm not trying to sink. So anyway, let me put the flaps in. That will help. The Cessna does not have... whatchamacallit. It does not have... Man, this is just... I can't believe the trim wheel is off that much, but as soon as I let go of the stick, it is really fighting me to go down. Alright, I'm a little better now. So let's see. Still dropping, but... Alright, I'm not trying to sink. I know I'm close to the ground. Alright, I probably need to climb a bit, so let me do that. And we're down to 90 nautical miles. Alright, I was a little too close to my instrument panel there. Sorry about that. Alright, I went over to my Navigraph so I could see. But I really need to be heading over here. I don't know that I need to be that terribly high. I mean, I know initially I was saying, I don't know why I said 11,000. I'm thinking I'm in like a, whatchamacallit? I'm in a, CJ4. Like, yeah, I probably need to be at like, let's say 3,000. Alright, we're going to speed up a little bit more because we are losing a good amount of airspeed here. I don't know, I may... Alright, let me do that and set the altitude. And then we'll play with it if we need to. But at this point, then we're not fighting the plane as much. I mean, I had it close to trimmed out. So I haven't flown a Cessna 172 in a while. I clearly need to get more familiar with the controls, so I'm kind of violating my own information about get comfortable with the aircraft before you do it. So I'm probably going to do a little bit of looking, because I do need to figure out how to adjust the altitude with the V-speed, which I have tried to do in another flight I tried in this, and it didn't work very well. But yeah, it's a bit interesting. So it's giving me flight events, you know, kind of telling me what I can do. So let me show you guys what I'm seeing. It's probably going to be a little more interesting than just staring at the aircraft. You can see this is basically what the flight tracking looks like. So I hit start tracking, it has all this telemetry, which is probably interesting, but you can see, so, we got the landing lights on, parking brakes released, initial climb started, then en route because I was coasting for a while, and then I've started another climb, so it's just giving me that info, and then again, it's obviously also giving me some tracking here, which I can follow in the aircraft. And I believe you can see, like, this is the 10-minute circle, the 20-minute. Let me move this, because it almost, oh, I see, because we're slowing down. So I'm like, the circles are changing, but they're changing because we're obviously having some difficulty continuing to climb. Yeah, now they're expanding as we sped up, but basically we're kind of oscillating. So let me put the nose down a bit, maybe do 400 and see if we can maintain that better. Maybe 300. I'm just surprised I can't climb faster than that. So you can kind of see if all I can really get, but I'm otherwise my airspeed was absolutely going down. But it is interesting because it does give me that information, and at the top it tells me like I have 76 nautical miles, 45 minutes. It's giving me flight state, showing me G-forces above ground level, what my fuel on board is. I'm down to 20 gallons now. So, from that respect, there's a lot more information for sure what I have. And I saw there was a map button where I can basically then just have the map go out, and then that little flight status comes into a tiny little window is all that happens off of there. So I apologize because me playing around with this is causing you to keep losing sound and not hear the engine and so forth. But I think I have most of the things kind of set, because I think it seemed to default when I took a look at some of the settings before I started recording, that a lot of the things that make it realistic per se are by default on, other than maybe the amount of money I'm going to get. And that may not even be true because my multiplier is set to 1. So, it talked about that I could do something with the cash to change the multiplier level. And I have not done that. I've left it at that level. So I don't know that I'm different from the other two servers as far as how those would function. Certainly as far as the interface, I didn't have to do much in FS Economy. Like, basically you'd start the flight and it would basically adjust the fuel is what it was worried about. Both NeoFly and OnAir are more worried about the payload weight as well. So the other thing that's interesting is, like, this is supposedly 70 pounds, but I can only do 63 pounds of cargo per the plane configuration. The thing that's hard to tell is, like, in theory, this is telling me that, I've got 7 pounds of cargo, and then me as the pilot. Like, in theory, it's set it. I don't see any errors that says it didn't work correctly or anything like that. Oh, it does give you a lot of information. That's interesting for, like, the airport I'm going to. So once again, it's kind of unfair as I'm trying to, like, share this with folks that I'm not showing you, but I'm looking over here. So where I'm headed, like, it's telling me where the runway is, what the length is, and all that. So I get that information right in there. I'm getting the METAR information, which is great. Doesn't tell me wind speed or anything, but I've got visibility, but I can see what I need to set the altimeter to, for example. And as we leveled out, it did go to en route started again. So I assume at some point when I descend, it's going to give me that information. So I'm not sure right now, because again, this is more a NeoFly video than it is, or not a NeoFly, an OnAir, sorry. I've been doing NeoFly so much, and obviously not used to this, but you know, more an on-air thing. I don't know that you want another 30 minutes of flying, so I think when I get closer to the airport, we'll, you know, kind of start descending, and we'll talk about, you know, what I'm seeing in the interface. I won't be able to show it to you because I can only record off the one screen. So, you know, but it's probably just going to be flight events where I'm sure it's going to tell me I'm descending and so forth, and we'll go from there. But obviously then we'll look at what we get after we're done flying, and so I think that'll be more interesting to do that. But let me get closer, and then I will be back. I'm back here, and so at this point in time, I'm going to go vertical speed, and we're going to go nose down. I'm going to back off on my throttle, because otherwise we're going to be going way too fast. And we're about 20 nautical miles out, but per kind of a normal descent. Let me, again, nose down a bit more, get ourselves closer to 1,000. I think that'll work. We might need to go to 1,500, but per the normal descent, you're kind of going to want to start, for every 1,000 feet, you want to have about 3 miles. So basically from going from 4,000 on, you know, we want to be a little bit higher, but we'll let this do its thing. Let me speed this up a bit, because I think I've got that little red pink line, so it's not really stabilizing. It's slowing down more. And we've got it set for 2,000. Man, this is windy. I can't really tell what the wind is because the METAR for KMRC really is giving me nothing for wind. So I mean, it's saying wind is calm, which the plane isn't behaving as if that's the case. I wouldn't say. Usually, I don't know that it bounces around that long. I mean, I suppose maybe it's doing some sort of thermal layers. So yes, what I'm seeing is descent started is literally the only flight event that occurred. Now we're going to level out here shortly. And the issue is going to be more, I think that's probably the runway there, because I think we're headed right in. I mean, we're still 15 miles out, so it took us 5 miles to go down 2,000 feet. So I probably had a pretty good glide slope. I'm not quite sure why it's slowing down now that wait, no, I guess that would do that. Never mind. I'm like, why is it slowing down now that I've leveled out? But it would do that. All right, so we'll leave that there. And it might be because it looks like something's blinking over there. So those may be the lights for the runway. I've never been to this airport in real life or in the sim. So I do not know. I'm just unfamiliar with it. I just know, you know, you've got some rolling hills here in Tennessee and so forth. So I just thought this might be a pretty area to fly around, and rather than duplicate the space and, you know, be up in Ohio again like I am in NeoFly right now, I figured let's pick another area so that at least if you're following along with all the series, we're not just looking at the same scenery over and over. And yeah, it's definitely blinking more and more. Seems a long way out. You've still got 6 minutes. But been spending some time in between, again, getting myself more familiar with the Garmin 1000 again, because I haven't used it in a long time. So I think I'm in better shape. I did also, in the meantime, play with a transponder, see if any of that registered in OnAir. It does not. So just trying to see, you know, what information it's worried about, what information it's not worried about. The other thing I don't think I have is the height, although you'd think, because it has visibility, sky clear, temperature's 19er, but yeah, it's not really giving me. Oh, I guess it does have an altitude of 668 feet. And then Nashville's 568. Where we took off from is 443. So that's all in that same airport and routes area where I was looking at the runways that I showed you earlier. So, and it does allow you to refresh the METAR as you get closer. So that is nice. There's just a refresh button there. And I think it adjusted the temperature a little bit. I think it moved 1 degree from when we took off an hour ago. It should make sense. Now again, we're not flying this in real time. It's quite late, but I don't think I want to be dealing with flying at night yet. Yeah, maybe we'll do that, because maybe there's some bonuses for doing some of that, but I do not know. So, alright, we are 7.5 miles out. So my entire session now, because it does show a session duration in OnAir as well, we are over an hour. Obviously I cut some things out, probably cut a lot of things out. So I'm hoping that, you know, maybe this will be a 30 or a 40-minute video for you when all is said and done. But the comparison, as I've talked about, really, I mean, what I'm looking for is in these 7 days to get as close as I can to, all right, do I prefer this or do I prefer NeoFly? You know, because this one does have different jobs. I just don't know that it has as many different jobs. And there's nothing that says I can't do both. It just, obviously there would be less progress if I'm jumping around. I've already got the virtual airlines and all of that. Okay, so that's the runway. We do have to turn, so I mean we are coming up on it, but I'm gonna have to be careful. So at some point, what I may want to do here now is I may want to change, so let me change the heading bug. And I may just want to go to heading mode now and let this go ahead and move me over so that I'm coming up a little bit more on the runway. Okay, and it's telling me flaps set, approach to KMRC started. At some point, I'm not quite sure how it knew I was technically doing that, because it's not as if I turned on the approach, but maybe, you know, maybe once we were within a certain distance or something. Alright, and again, in theory, we're targeting those double white lines. So, just want to be careful here. Now we back off, and then we just let it gently coast down.
Landing time logged.
Alright, touchdown speed 170, so it was a little heavy. Now that's interesting because it basically froze the simulator. I don't like that. I do not like it doing that. Ooh. Alright. I was just turning too fast, so that was my fault. But I was like, I can vacate here. I almost didn't, but we did. And then it does give me a crosswind component. Tells me the wind's 269 at 1 knot, so you know, you could argue that I probably should have come in on 2.4, but again, it is wind calm. But we'll see, you know, if it's upset with how quickly I touch down or whatever. So we're going to say that's good enough. Parking brake set, it does have that. We are then going to get all of our lights off. Taxi off, landing on. Okay. Do we want our beacon off? Okay. Because we are going to shut down, so I guess that makes sense.
Engine off, time logged. The flight is finished.
All right.
It has been monitored by OnAir.
So there we go. All right, oil pressure, low volts, all of that. All right, so it basically moved along. I don't know why. Oh, I see. I'm trying to show it, telling me you've reached level 2. New level mission available plus 2 skill points. So I'm going to go ahead and click on level mission. Don't know what that means, but we came from... Oh, I see. So this is the new level mission. So basically I can take... Those are not short flights, my goodness. Because I think that's... Oh, that's total weight. So is this giving me a distance? Okay, 131. But is that for both legs? Because basically what it looks like is I would take a passenger from here to there, and then I would deliver cargo, which once again, it keeps giving me more cargo than I can take. But wow, that's a good payday. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see. Because otherwise, if I go to my company and I look, is it work orders? No, work orders I think are things that I... Okay, so I need charter jobs, I think. No, well, that's where I was at. So if I want to see passenger and cargo jobs from here, looks like it's loading. All right, so definitely some substantial ones. All right, well, passengers min, obviously I only want things that I can do, so I think I can only do 2 passengers. So like anything with more than that doesn't make a lot of sense. And obviously I also can't do that. So that is where NeoFly is nice, because you can just click on a button and it will give you everything. Oh, okay, let's see. So if we do the Cessna, that's nice. Okay, so now did it already refilter? It may have. All right, and then if I go from or to, and then you can see the range I see is from 250. So I certainly want more options than that. I see. So if I query the logistics center, I think I have to do that to basically change things. All right, and it does look like it kind of gives me things by distance. So your company cannot accept, okay, so hide unavailable jobs. Let me see, because I assume then these will go away. So we're just kind of trying to get familiar. All right, so that substantially shrunk the list. So this is like perishable food. So is that 120 hours? Yeah, I guess so, because it's Monday, May 6th. So this is kind of real time, but this has a time constraint. And then again, it can't be flown by an AI pilot where some of these others in theory could. But yes, it looks like it sorts them by distance. Alright, so it's telling me fresh vegetables, crates. So I have that. Again, so it's 102. Okay, so I think this also then shows it's per 1,000 pounds per nautical mile. So I think these purple circles kind of give you the ability to also tell like what's the best paying job. So in theory, like this one pays more per distance, so it kind of does some of the math for you. And I assume, okay, if the job's delivered too late, wow, you could lose 1,650 credits, or here it'd be 14 and so forth. So let me go back to my flight log and hopefully we can see what we had. No, we lost all that. Well, that stinks, so we're going to have to look at it because it doesn't look like I can. Yeah, that's just going to give me company data. Alright, so right now my company value is negative 2,000. This is the level that it took me to level 2. But it almost seemed like I don't know what I needed in level 1. You can see now we own this aircraft. What's that? Okay, practical information and all that. Alright, and I'm certified on single engine piston because that's something else. So it does have kind of like the qualification that NeoFly has. We're able to do those type of things. Alright, so let's go look at the skill tree because we have 3 skill points to distribute here. And so, see, like these are interesting, but I don't know that I can do anything with it. So I think the bank loans, you know, let us do things with loans, although like negotiating parking fees, landing fees, and stuff could be useful. This is if I want to build an FBO, which I may want to at some point. You know, this I think is useless with the plane I have now, because I just don't think that I can transport any of these things. Although last minute jobs might not be bad. But like I already have jobs with passengers in theory. So you can build FBOs and get a logistic query license for one sector, which delivers every 5 days. And this unlocks buildings of love. You know, because I know this is helpful because if you have this, then you can like service your plane better. So if I kind of stay at the base here and set that up at the airport I'm in, that would work. But let's see. Unlocks loans at the bank, parking fee reduction, landing fee reduction. See, those seem useful. And again, hiring, like I don't have a plane that I can use co-pilot or flight attendants right now. So I think I want to unlock that, and then, let's see. Oh, I see, that takes 2 skill points to do that. So I'm assuming it's decreased by 5%. Alright, so I'd have to like undo to get better interest rates, but like I don't have a loan right now, so I think this is better. Where here, aircraft, okay, so aircraft ownership, you know, whatever fee I'm paying, so probably that $50 a week or whatever would decrease. So we're going to go ahead and save that. Let's see if we just jump back to the dashboard. Alright, the fastest way to get started with your company is to complete the level missions. As with any other job, you will sometimes need to make several refuel stops to reach the destination. You know, because my XP, all right, so I see. So I got a bonus of 1,000, maybe because it was my first job. I don't know why that happened. But it would seem logical to me, you know, to like you can go to this other one and like do airline routes and just kind of get assigned things. So it's interesting in that regard where as I've peeked at it a little bit, like it's kind of like setting up the flight plan that I can do in the virtual airlines where it'll say, hey, here are the 5 or 6 flights you need to do over the week. But again, given that I'm just testing this for a week right now, I think those type of things I'm not going to do that well with. I'm curious why. Okay, so my assets are this. Share capital, but like why is my value negative? Oh, I see, because maybe it's this cash and assets, I guess. So we have that much cash. Oh, and I think what it basically is because the plane, we paid like 122 for the plane, and then we made like 1,700, I think, on the job. So that's the other thing, I guess. Let me see. So if I go to flight logs, like, does it tell me how much I got paid? It does not, I don't think. There's the show flight on the map. It's interesting. Like, you always have to. Let's see, show flight details. Is that going to give me what I had? Maybe. Okay, so I think this was some of what we had. All right, so the landing speed, I guess, was fast, or maybe it was slow. Like, I don't know why it's yellow. And a little out of the green, the landing rate looks like it was really good, but then it shows the block time when I turn the engine on, when I turned it off. Total flight time, airborne. Oh, I see the time. I was thinking again that it's like 49 minutes and it's telling me, okay, so basically I took 13 minutes between engines on and getting airborne. And again, it let me take 70 pounds maybe because I didn't have a bunch of people. Okay, I did not exceed the taxi speed. I was trying to be very careful there. And then reputation increase. Okay, so just because I did distance, I don't know what reputation does for me here in OnAir. Okay, and then comfort bonus, all rules respected. Safety, all rules respected. And aircraft handling bonus. So this sounds similar again where NeoFly has those 3 areas, and then we're losing normal wear and tear on the airframe and the engine. So, and I'm assuming that's by time, but I don't know. All right, so the good news, I went back here to the charter jobs and it does keep the settings. So that's certainly helpful because otherwise, you know, that would not be good. All right, so this is showing me kind of what they're saying is the minimum airport. Wow, this is a 0 airport. So I assume, again, yeah, if I just click on it, it'll move things on the map. Now what this doesn't let me do, or doesn't let me see that I can tell offhand, is if it's a hard runway or not. So I don't know. I mean, again, if it's a KTGC, I'm guessing it probably is, but like I'm guessing the 0 is not. But other than like looking it up somewhere, I don't know. I mean, you know, like airport without lights will probably get rid of things. But, you know, you've also got like you can do freelance jobs and these other things. Like we're in the logistics center right now. And then of course we do have the pending, which I think is the longer one I could take. And the benefit here is, again, we're going to get 22,000. Or if I go back to the logistics center, you know, we're talking about 5,000, and yes, I'm not flying the miles I am, so I'm just kind of curious though. Like, let me see, does it, okay. So see, so I'm guessing that distance is this leg. I mean, see, it might be 131 that way, so it might be like ultimately I'm getting that far. But see, I think this is the thing, like I'm getting 191 credits So now I see what they're saying about, these level up jobs definitely speed you along, and for testing, maybe that makes the most sense. It's just doing 131 miles and then probably another, that's going to take me 2 or 3 hours of flying time. By the time I get this done, there's the XP2000. If I go back here to the dashboard, okay, yes, so I need 2000 to get out of level 2, and I've already got 58 in there. But we'll take a look next time. We'll see what we decide to do. I may just take that level job and go that route. That may be the easiest things to do for now to get familiar with how things work. If you've enjoyed this, and especially if you have any comments or anything, let me know what you think so far. If you're weighing in, if you were to pick OnAir versus NeoFly, I don't know that we know enough yet, really. I think we've done very little, but always willing to hear from folks. If you've enjoyed this but haven't dropped a like, please consider that. And if you are not a subscriber yet, please consider that as well. And I will see you next time.